Hello.
And we are back again.
It
All
was
right,
only
all right.
yesterday, I believe. It feels like
Yeah.
only yesterday. In fact, it was yesterday.
It was yesterday, yeah. I think I really like that we have the 2 week, like twice in a week cadence. But like we have a very busy schedule as well. So it's always nice to
Indeed.
move things around.
And we keep everyone on their toes, right? Because we
Yeah,
never choose the right day. So
yeah.
welcome folks to Fullstack for Noobs, where Sally and myself are guiding you through the murky world of full stack development with the help of our trusted companion, Kiro.
Yes. And we have been building a Kira coding quest, which is hopefully is going to be used at AWS events, AWS booths. So like you would be able to play a game to use Kira to answer some questions about programming or like whatever it is defined later on. I even added some pop culture questions for testing purposes. We don't own any of these materials, so
And
I
actually,
don't think that.
on that subject,
Yeah.
Sally. So, for folks who have been following along, we have at the end of the episode 15, I think this is the 16th episode,
Yes.
we got to a stage where we had completed the application and had just finished creating a beautiful admin page in the front end that would help us actually create new events. Okay.
Yeah.
But what we found during the last bits of testing was that actually we didn't have enough questions. Something that actually when we were asking through the issues log why there were so many coding questions. I think it was so many multiple choice questions, because there weren't any other kind of questions, right? So back, I think it's episode 11 or 12, I shared a Strands application that we created, a kind of like support application to generate kind of sample questions, because Sally had originally tried to use Kiro for that, but we found Kiro was great for writing code, but it's just not great as a general kind of like
Content generator.
yeah. And actually, Sally, it's interesting because I'm not sure if you read these things on the internet, but I keep seeing stories, right, of people who go to a website that's now got like a chat bot and say, I want you to show me how to write some code to do this, right? And the chatbot does it. The chatbot writes the code for them, right? And I even saw someone try and do it on Rufus on the Amazon.co.uk website, right?
Yeah.
And effectively what it was is that I want to buy a handbag, right? But in order to buy a handbag, I need to write some Python code. Right? Show me some Python code to do this. And at least on the screenshot, it showed it writing code, but I tried it, right, and it doesn't work. So they've they've locked that one down, right, on at least on Amazon's. But I tried it on other chatbots, and you can totally do it, right? So this is an example of where you as a developer have control over what you can and can't output. And so what we found is that Kiro was great at writing code, not so good at doing general knowledge questions. And so we built in only an hour, we built a Strands agentic application that uses Opus as the backend model. And we created 255 questions, which I've emailed to Sally. And so one of the things we're going to do is we're going to use one of the capabilities we built in the back end to import questions, and we're going to import those, and we can then go through and test it out. But today's episode is all about getting us into the cloud, right? Getting us onto AWS through the medium of CI/CD, through automation.
Yeah, 100%. So right now I'm also like, I think I downloaded everything already. Yes. Today it's really important that we have something running, hopefully, so we can actually maybe even share a link with the people so they can even try out and test it out and like let us know what they are doing.
and we had a conversation yesterday at the end of the episode as to kind of what the hosting options were gonna look like, right? Just to kind of recap in case you missed yesterday's episode, we have a front end that's a React application, and then we have a back end which is a Python Flask API with beautiful Bootstrap.
That's why I closed it now.
Let
me, I thought I was sharing my screen. Let me share my screen.
And we decided that we looked and reviewed some of the options, and what we're going to do is we're going to host the front end in Amplify, and then we're going to host the back end on an EC2 instance. And the reason for doing it on an EC2 instance is because we're running containers as part of the sandbox evaluation engine. And that's going to be, at least for the purposes of getting this up and running and tested, is going to be the quickest option. So two different.
If you say so, I believe that. But let's see. Let's see.
Yeah. So we're going to basically be. That's what we're going to be doing. Okay, aiming to do. And we also covered at the end of yesterday's show is that the order in which we're going to do that. So typically we'll do the back end first because we need to make the APIs available, and then hook that into an environment variable for the front end so that it knows how to access the back end. Okay, so that's today's task, Sally. Right?
Yeah.
Yes. So have you imported the questions?
Yeah, I did, and we have now like
338 questions.
Yeah, with the previous ones in total, we have 338 questions. Pagination works very well. Like there are some like Kira questions. There are more as well.
Yeah, so I did equal amount of coding, general knowledge, and multiple choice, and I focused them on AWS general knowledge and history, AWS serverless, AWS data, and Kiro and developer tools. So there's a mixture of questions there. Now, one thing I haven't done, is I haven't checked the veracity of all them. I did a few and they were okay. So obviously when we get this hosted and when we get this up and running, one of the things that we want you, the community, to do is play the game, for bragging rights, see if you can get top score. But if you find a question that's wrong, let us know, right? Because we want to basically be able to know. And actually, you know what? Not now, but I think once we get this up and running, once we build our infrastructure as code, once we build our CI/CD pipeline, what we can do, Sally, is maybe show how we can now use that automation to kind of add new features and see them flow into, the running application.
Yeah, maybe we can also turn the way that we work into more, let's say, more realistic approach as well, like to build features the proper way with AI tools and so on, because we have been vibe coding constantly. And after the first initial deployment, I think we can say that now we have something and we can use that something to move forward with.
Okay, that works for me.
And so we have the admin page in place and everything in place. So what do you want to do next? Do you want to test this out? Do you want to test
so let's we could do that, couldn't we? We could do a quick test to make sure it's all working. So let's create a new event then, called Sally's greatest event.
Greatest event. The theme will be football.
And
I think
that's a good one, given that your boys Arsenal yesterday did a good job. I watched the Real Madrid Man City game, and the first 20 minutes, man, wow, what a game! Right? It had everything. Everything.
Exactly. I mean, they made Vinny angry, right?
Yeah,
and
don't make Vinny angry.
You can say a lot about him. He's not my favorite player per se, but if he's angry, he plays well.
Yeah.
Greatest coding event.
Salah Al-Baik, I hope I said your name right. Hello to you back as well.
Hello. Good to see you again. Nice. I really like when we have people coming back again. It's really nice.
Indeed. Let us know what your thoughts are on the football yesterday if you're a football person.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we've got to choose the questions, right? So and this is where I was thinking having a button, right, to auto assign the questions for you might be very handy.
That would be nice. That would be nice.
But we don't have that, right? We
No,
don't
we
have
don't
that
have,
at the
but
moment.
it would be nice to have, like, for example, select all, I don't know,
Yes,
multiple choice, TypeScript, or whatever this
I
questions.
think
That would be nice.
I think a filter on the type of question,
Yeah,
a filter on the difficulty rating, and then a select all as well. Yeah, definitely.
I'm
But
just
we
randomly
need a lot. We
selecting.
need at least we need we need 90, don't we? No, in fact, we need more than that actually.
We like 32 times like
I you
3,
know
I
what,
think
Ali,
96, right?
I think we need more, because I tell you what, imagine we've got 3 different programming languages, right?
Mm-hmm.
With 40% of the TARs being programming languages, so that's going to be at least 45 coding questions we need, and then we're going to need the rest, because the rest aren't on programming languages, but they're on difficulty
Mm-hmm.
levels. Okay, actually, sorry. Let's wind that back. So we've got the potential for 3 different programming languages with 3 different difficulty levels, right? So we actually need a crazy amount of questions in each question bank. So we really do need a select all button, I think.
Yeah.
And I actually wonder if the back end already has that. I'm just wondering whether I don't think it did. I think it's only had.
I would be very surprised if the Bootstrap had a select all button,
Well,
let's see. Let's select. Let me see.
I don't know. I can't remember, Sally. I can't remember.
So this is Sally's greatest event, right? And let's assign questions. See?
Okay. All right. Okay. All
like
right.
I already
You're
selected
right.
84 of that. All right. So let me do at least, I don't know, 120 or something.
Yeah, let's do 120. But are you doing a mixture of coding and multiple choice? Because we need to make sure we get a mixture.
Yeah, I just selected randomly, but like, let me do coding. Yes.
So Sally, got a question for you from Salah.
Yeah.
How was your game day in Berlin? Ours was amazing. It would have been much better if you were there.
Yeah.
That I felt
Thank
weird.
you. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time. So we got second on Turkey and 71 global. That's fantastic. Well done.
Yeah, nice.
Well done
nice.
to have a team. Well done. Good stuff.
Tavuk means chicken, by the way. They call their team chicken. Tavuk is Turkish, yeah.
And Tobias, good to see you back again.
Yeah.
I hope you're doing well in, I think you're Stockholm, aren't you? I think you're in Sweden.
I mean, he can be anywhere. He travels so much. It's hard to track, Yeah, like yesterday, the event was really great. I would say like there were some like tiny hiccups, but overall it was really nice. The important point is like we gathered people to be a team, and they did a great job as well.
Yeah.
So I was very happy to basically be part of that. And game days are very special. I'm thinking of like bringing game day logic to maybe
what's happening?
actually
It's not
learning
working.
content.
Is the button not working?
No, I didn't click it. Now I clicked on
okay.
it.
All right.
You can
Just
review,
Okay.
like,
Listen, good. So we've got our event. We've got our event now, right? So now,
Yeah.
so remember last time we didn't have that many coding questions, right?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that if we do a new game, if we go now to the main page and do it and start a game, we should now see more coding questions.
Let's see. So I have, let's say, Sally, the king, and I will select TypeScript.
Okay.
And difficulty, let's keep it as normal.
Okay.
And
feeling brave.
Go. You know me.
Okay. Right.
So we have everything in place.
I think we've got everything in place.
All right. This looks small because last time we tested it out.
You used the little. That's it. You used the. That's it. That's what you did.
Yeah. So that is why.
Okay.
All right. So we have this. Let's click on medium.
Straight in with a coding question.
Yeah, you must be happy. You must be very happy.
I'm very happy.
So
because this is the kind of thing we want, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the language is correct as well. This is nice. Given a string as set result to a string with each word capitalized, blah, blah, blah. So we can have the hint, split the string by spaces, capitalize the first letter of each word, then join them back. So here's the thing. Do you want me to use like Kira? Do you want me to answer the questions really?
Let's check. Let's do this one. Just this first one. Yeah. Let's use Kiro to answer this, right?
All right.
And then we'll go from there.
All right. So I'm here, and I will say.
And remember that we want the result. We want the answer in result equals.
Okay. Maybe we should add that to. Wait. I want the answer in result equals format.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. So let's see what happens. Oh.
Genius.
Yeah. So you know what? That will work, right? That will work for the sample output.
Yeah.
But it won't work. Let's actually put it in. I want to see what happens when you put it in, because it should pass one test but fail another.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Wait a second.
Oh, have you got Finch running?
Okay.
Oh, it says incorrect answer.
Yeah, because one or more tests failed. So like,
okay. Yeah, no,
it is what we expect.
No, it's not. It's okay. It's it gave you a different question then as well.
Oh, no, okay. I clicked on something else.
Okay, all right, good.
I clicked this when I clicked.
Okay, all right. So let's go back to that one. Let's go back to that one. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to need to mark that down potentially as an issue, because we wanted that behavior for the general knowledge and the multiple choice questions. I don't think we want that behavior for the coding questions.
Which behavior? The wrong answer?
The dialog box. I think for dialog box, we just basically want it to go back to the editor, really, so that.
So what I'm going to do now is like I will write down the issues.
Yeah.
So
yeah, let's do that.
You will keep that, and we will fill the rest of the information later. The first problem was we don't want. Coding questions should not show incorrect answer dialog if the answer is incorrect.
Whilst you're typing that, Salah's just providing some feedback on the game days, and I agree. I think it is one of the best ways to learn, especially as you're in a kind of competitive and stressed situation, right?
Yeah.
And if folks haven't been to a game day, then we highly recommend you try and search one out and just try it. I mean, if you go to an AWS Summit, normally they run a few game days at AWS Summit. So if you're near one and you've not been to one before, then go try it out.
Your answer is wrong. One thing that I want to add is, like, for example, even yesterday, during the game day, people didn't know that they could get like minus points and so on. So they were just randomly clicking on stuff to hope that it would work. But
so Tobias has got a very straightforward question. What is a game day? Right. So Sally, how would you describe a game day? I mean, actually, no. You're typing, so I will describe game day. So game days actually are really cool. They're effectively kind of scenarios, real or kind of set up to mimic real world scenarios. So, for example, you're running a company. It's normally Unicorn Rentals or something similar, and they'll play a number of scenarios. So we have been hacked, for example, and we need to find out, how we were hacked and then fix it. And so there's a number of challenges that are run, and effectively you have got access to an AWS environment that's kind of delivered through the game day kind of like console. And then you basically use your AWS skills to actually kind of like solve the problem. So it could be closing down maybe some excessive permissions so that you keep attackers out. It might be fixing a web server that's not working. those kind of things, right? So the idea is that as you do this, the quicker you do it and the more effective you do it, you get points, and there's a leaderboard. And so typically in a room, everyone's doing it at the same time because it's a timed activity. The leaderboard is there that's keeping everyone excited, and as you're completing tasks, you go up and down the leaderboard. So so that's what a game day is, and they can cover different formats. Okay. But broader than that, Tobias, actually what game days are really is a mechanism that you can use to build muscle memory. We see them used heavily by customers who are looking to implement resilience within their organization. So they'll basically have game days to practice, if a system goes down, how quickly they can respond, identify, and then fix. If you do that in a controlled way, then if you do it more frequently, you start to build that intuition. Which tool should I use? How do we communicate? All those kind of things. So that's what game days are, both within the context of, you know, fun activities that we do, but also how companies are using them.
It also gives you a chance to learn by doing and like work as a team as well. I really like that opportunity because this allows you to learn from the others and just also socialize as well. For example, yesterday we had some folks who had not met before, and they were basically building a solution together, and it was really fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I gotta say that is that's one of the best things when you get teams like that.
Yeah. So it was really fun. Yeah.
So let's yeah, I mean, okay, I mean, it's technically it's not right. Okay, so that's good. So let's go back to Kira and understand why. So why so I tell you what, maybe remove the I want the answer in result equals format. Let's
I just want to give I just want to ask the question.
Ask the question.
I would like a attendee. Like as an attendee, I would just do this thing.
Yeah.
So it actually says
this is looking better. This is looking
and
better.
It's a new chat, by the way. Like it's a new chat.
Yes, it's a new chat. Exactly. Yes.
So
okay.
Now
so let's put that in there. Let's put that in the
Yeah. So I go back and let me refresh. Yes. All right. I'm here. I go back. I do this, right? And submit. Incorrect.
Okay, answer. So what we need to do, Sally, you've got Finch running. The Docker containers are up and running, because remember we need the Docker containers up and running so that the evaluation engine is going to work.
You know what? That is an excellent question. That is.
Let's make sure there's a. I think it's in the services directory. I think if you go to in the source code, the game engine, I think it's source services, and in there there's a sandbox.
Yes,
and there's a script in there.
Another sandbox, yes, and we have the build images.
So the build images. Let's do that. Let's see if it's gonna.
All sandbox images build. Yeah.
Did you switch to Finch in the end? Or I can't remember if you.
Yeah, I'm using Finch right now. I didn't use Docker.
So if you do Finch space VM space status, let's see what it says.
Finch. VM
and then space status
running,
and if you do Finch space PS space -a. Okay, so that's interesting. It's not running them. So why isn't it running them? Okay,
maybe we broke it.
Maybe, but we did get it working before, didn't we?
We tried it before. We know it's working somehow.
So it's now broken.
So we have the build images and so on.
So we know that and with the evaluator is running okay. You know, it kind of makes me feel that we probably should have an ability to test the evaluation engine, shouldn't we?
Maybe in the admin page. No. But should we?
So I'll tell you what we can do is that question, the one we answered. If you go to the backend editor and look for the question, right? Let's have a look at the question. So we can search for given a string S result capitalize. So we can so if we go to the back end, and
I will go to my back end, because in mine we had search.
Okay, so let's edit the question. So let's have a look.
It says like, should I just get the answer and see if it's working?
So we can try that and see what happens. So okay, but this is not okay.
This is not what we wanted it to do. Like, we wanted it to pick up, for example, even though it says this, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because I think before you had like const, didn't you? Const result equals.
I think before. Oh, this is wrong. This is wrong, so that's why it was wrong. I don't read the code.
But in theory, we should be able to delete all of that. So delete all the correct answer, delete it.
Yeah.
Delete the whole thing, and then can we save it? How do we save it? Oh yeah, update. There's an update button.
But so it needs to have something inside.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't need anything.
According to my
wow. We might have to edit. We might have to edit this in the back end then.
Yeah, no. What is our win at the end? Like, what do we want to do by removing this? Maybe we can just ignore it.
So the correct answer is only used for general knowledge and multiple choice. It's not used for coding. So if you update, put hello is fine. So let's put that there and
let me refresh or.
And because remember we fixed that problem. We fixed
that problem. Let me reset the game.
No. Just let's do that. Okay. Is that the same one? Is that the same question?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So the question is, why didn't Kiro? So Kiro gave part of the answer, right? He gave the second part. If you go back to that question,
yeah.
So if you paste the answer you had, because it's still in your clipboard.
Yeah, it is.
Right. So if you look at that, it says result equals join word capitalized.
I would say, yeah.
So
so in here, here's what we do. Like in here, okay, let me read the question. I didn't even read the question. So let's understand it. Let's understand the answer and see if it makes sense. So given a string S, set result to the string with each word capitalized.
So the reason why the answer is not, sorry to interrupt. So the reason why it's not the right answer, okay? Because look, if you look at the result that Kira has given you, all it's giving you is a function. Whereas if you look at the answer below, it says let result equals s dot split, because we're having an input, right? So we can see the input, which is why in the question we have the sample input. So we have a JSON input, which is s with the value of hello world foo, right? Whereas that answer, actually, no, just there. Sorry, I apologize, I missed that. Okay,
I think like so here's what this does. It gets the S, splits it, like S is this sentence, right? It gets it and splits it with the spaces. And for each word that it has split, it actually capitalizes them and joins them in. Like, means that it just brings together by giving again an empty space. But in here, it actually gets every letter available and capitalizes them one by one. So my thinking.
So it should answer. So it should work, right? So the top one should work. So let's try again. Let's try the top one again.
Yeah. You know what? Like, I will try something with the top one. Return to game word. What? Let me do.
We can do let. Yeah. Okay.
No, let's do that. because const is
yes. I think this will oh. Okay, so because we know the evaluation engine is working because when we get that into the question, right? So why is it doing that then?
Let me try something. Const as equals hello world, and then I will do let result equals dot join dot capitalize forward in s dot split. I'm just
but you what I mean it's hard to see what you're writing there, but
okay,
it's okay. But we obviously at this point we don't have the obviously because there's a post, right? The input is not there, right? All we've got is the function without actually providing the input.
But here's the thing. So first of all, it says we are missing a parenthesis. Where do we miss it? Not here. We have one to open, one open, 2 open, 1 open, 0 open. No, it should be here. And this, I don't know. I just wanted to.
So I'm wondering if we go back to Kiro and we basically say, we basically split it into effectively the first part, okay, where we've just got the question, and then it might come up with an answer, and then we say, you know, this is the sample input that we're going to provide, okay. Does the code still hold true? So that way we can actually ask Hero to help us with separating the input from the function, if that makes sense.
But here's the thing, though, we are already separating from the logic perspective. Like what we're telling it, like this is the input. This input will be provided by us. Only thing different here is like we don't.
Okay, so see what? So just humor me for a second, right? Yeah. Copy the sample input string. So in the brackets, the JSON. So if you go above and copy it, just that bit there. Actually, with the curly braces, and then in the chat, can you say, if I use this as an input, what would be my output? And okay, so
it does right. I mean, there are two things. Either the evaluation engine is not running.
Well, but it must be running because when you enter the code a different way, it says it's okay, right?
But maybe if it's not running, there's a fallback mechanism to check if it's a 1-by-1 match, and if it's.
But we changed the correct answer to hello, and it still worked, right? So
no, it didn't. See, this is the let's use the correct one.
If you go back to the question editor, then
let me submit.
So this one, so that means the evaluation engine is working, right? But if we edit the question, right, let's use the second. So we got the hidden input. Let's use the hidden input below. So that let's use that string, right?
Okay.
And now go to Kiro and say what would the output for this? Yeah. If you go back to the question editor.
The question editor.
So the quick so basically that looks okay then. The quick brown fox is exactly so it is actually right. It is actually working okay. So where it says correct answer, right, let's remove that or change that to just hello, right?
I did. I just like I didn't update this yet. It was hello right now. Like I didn't update it. So you would see like if I cancel and come back.
Oh, okay, right. So it's there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know the evaluation is working then, right? Evaluation engine is working.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the code that Kiro is generating is not working, which is strange, right? That doesn't make sense to me at all. Unless, okay, I see what we can do. So how about this, right? Let's ask Kiro to tell us why. If we say this function works, this function doesn't work. Can you explain why?
Like I'm just thinking, like from my point of view, I think the capitalize might be introduced later than whatever comparison version that we are making. And I'm just trying to make sense of it. But let's ask Kiro, so let's not waste time.
Yeah. If we ask Kiro, what? Yeah. So.
Yeah. According to our program, the following code works is accepted as a correct solution to the original problem. However, your implementation is not accepted as correct.
But we need to explain. We need to ask Kiro. Can you explain why this might be?
Yeah, I'm not done yet. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Can you explain why you would have why your answer is
this is the danger, right, of coding questions in these kind of challenges, right?
Yeah, I mean, like the only difference is like the capitalize is
the accepted solution is JavaScript while mine is Python. What?
Wait a second.
What? Okay, let's put that in there now and see if that works.
Jesus. Oh my God, like this is what happens when you don't give me a coffee.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So it was giving us Python code. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
But why? Why was it giving us Python code?
But here's another crazy part. Like there's a capitalize like JavaScript capitalize function. Oh my God! Like there isn't even a capitalized function. I'm just mixing languages now. I'm just
right. We're all polyglots now. We're all polyglots.
Yeah, that's like when like it's like with my son now. He speaks like German or Turkish, and sometimes he's just saying things in German or mixes it, like starts a language in Turkish and changes the words to German.
Yeah.
This is where I'm at right now.
Well, having grown up in this country, not speaking English until I was 6 years old, I can fully relate to that.
Yeah. But anyway, now we know.
Okay, so the good thing is that the sandboxing is working on your part, which is good, and the JavaScript questions work once we ask it to write JavaScript.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the next question. Another coding question.
Oh, nice. But do we have any other? Yes.
There we go.
In which year was Kira first unveiled by AWS?
Ooh.
Yes. Come on. Navigate the mystical. Let's see. What is TransAgents? A cloud deployment service, an open source SDK. These are nice questions. I have to
like
say. Them? Yeah. So
you'd like
medium.
Them.
Yes. Which Amazon Bedrock feature allows you to evaluate and compare the performance of different foundation models using your own data sets and metrics? Damn, that's hard. That's not medium.
Is that's Amazon Bedrock evals, isn't it?
Amazon, I don't know. If it's wrong, we will lose our streak, Correct answer. Nice.
We've not lost the
Nice.
streak.
Yeah. Coding question. Okay, let's ask this to Kiro properly.
And make sure you say, I want the answer in JavaScript.
Now I was just, I'm just excited. Let's see. Come on.
I've got every confidence it's going to work. Oh, look at
Let's
this.
see. At least it looks somehow related. I didn't even read the question again. It works.
Whee!
Yeah,
Look at
nice,
that.
nice.
This is fantastic.
So let's select medium. Which AWS region was the first to be launched? Oh, isn't this grammatically
Was
off?
the first, yeah, which AWS region was the first to be launched?
Yeah.
Correct.
All right. So was it like US West or
No.
US East one?
A.
I don't know. I just know it's not these two.
No, it's definitely A.
Yeah. No. Like as I said, I don't know. All right. What does RDS stand for? Of course, it is redundant database.
Yeah, no, it's rapid data system, isn't it?
Yeah. Victory.
Look at that.
All right.
So oh yeah, we haven't done the badging and all that yet, but we can do that. We can do that once.
We have to do the badging. Yeah.
That's all right. We can do that once we've got it deployed and integrated, and we got the CI/CD system up running. We can add features and ship like crazy, right?
Yeah. And now time to add microtransactions and ship it.
Exactly. Yeah. So the basically it's working, Sally. We've got that's our baseline, right? We've now got an application that works. But we have got a roadmap. Okay, there's lots of things we want to put in this, but now I think we need to ship it into the
Let's ship it. I don't want to fix bugs. I don't want to like focus on issues now. I think we have something running. So let's talk about like AWS MCP, or what do you want to talk about next?
At the end of last episode, we talked about hosting options and how we do it. We decided after evaluating the trade-offs and what we're trying to do that for the front end, that's always going to be Amplify. But we want to deploy the back end first because we want to configure the back end, the front end to access the APIs in the front end. So we decided because of the sandbox evaluation engine, it's going to be probably the easiest to deploy this on EC2 instance, right? So I guess we could do ClickOps, right? But Sally, you and me, we don't do ClickOps, right?
No.
We don't do ClickOps.
That's not how we operate.
No, it's not how we operate. So we're going to basically do this through infrastructure as code, because that's really the only way, I think, to really understand how you can deploy these things. And so we're going to basically, we could use a number of different options, right? There are really great options for folks. The first of these options, obviously, is CloudFormation. But, that's good. Probably more of a sort of a DevOpsy kind of or sysadmin type approach. But given the fact we're writing code, I think that only leaves really one approach, Sally, and that's CDK. What do you think?
Yeah, 100%. And I'm a CDK fanboy, so
Me too.
I'm quite
Me too. Yeah. So let's do this. So basically, so the game engine. So we're basically going to effectively figure out how, and we only want the game engine. We don't want anything else other than the game engine, right?
Yeah.
So from your perspective, Sally, obviously we've got Kiro here already configured. I guess one of the first things we're going to need to do, is think about the CDK MCP server, I'm guessing, because we have a bunch of AWS MCP servers, and we have one that's that helps you basically optimize for writing your CD codes. Is that how you would start?
So I want to introduce something new. Like the CDK team has released ISE MCP, which is like, it is an MCP.
It's actually bigger. Not CDK specific. It's actually broader.
Exactly. They're like the CDK MCP server. It is still there, but it says like this is deprecated. Use the ISE MCP instead.
Okay. I much prefer this, definitely. I actually makes sense, because especially where CDK doesn't have access to L2, L3 constructs, it will have a better understanding of how it can then use the CloudFormation or stuff, right? So that makes sense to me.
And also they did create some like plugins and so on as well for ISC server, so you can use it more efficiently on any other ID of your choice as well. Right now, we
Right.
go with
Okay.
Kira, we will be using ISC MCP, but it's up to you to use whatever you want to do.
So this is doing it through MCP, right? But Sally,
Yeah.
is MCP the only thing we could use to do this?
No. We
Oh,
talked
no.
like we said MCP is expensive already, right?
Exactly.
MCP requires you to give up from your context window even when you don't need it.
That's why I asked the question, right? So that means if you're not going to be using MCP, or if you don't want to use MCP because of the inefficiencies from a use of context window, although that is related to the quality of the MCP server. Not all MCP servers do this, by the way. It's just some. How else might we do it then? Do you think Kira Powers might be the way?
Kira Powers is the way to go. So Kira Powers are actually, like, if you're not familiar with what skills are in the AI world, basically skills are giving the necessary context to your agent, so it doesn't have to get loaded with unnecessary information, but only loads the information that it needs. It has an entry point file called skill.md, and inside that file, you define for which purposes, which extra file to call, and only then that file is called and added to the context window. So this way, you don't need to think about, oh my God, like I will call the MCP and MCP will do like 5 tool calls, get out the context, make a meaning, and create something while just using 30% of your context window. It would actually call the skill, check out the skill file. From the skill file, it will say, okay, like what do I need? I need to create, I don't know, a new EC2 instance. Then from that, it will bring the necessary information. And we have also for Kira, we can use skills as well, but we also have something that we call Kira Powers. Kira Powers are curated skills with additional context on top of it that is allowing you to build applications.
And do we have one for infrastructure as code?
That we have one for CDK actually. Let me find it. Yes,
well, that's handy, isn't it?
Yeah, that is surprising, right?
Yeah, I mean, and I did not. This was something that I just basically thought about now. So yeah, so where is it though? Where is it?
I'm just trying to find it now. I think
there's a lot of them, isn't there?
I think we.
Is there a search?
We need to have a search here exactly. So we have like things from like Superbase, Hashi, and like there's Strands. So in case you want to build your agent as well.
Yeah, I use the Strands the Strands power when I was basically building the question generator. There we go. Look at that.
So they build AWS infrastructure with CDK and CloudFormation power. This is an official one from AWS, so you can use it. And there are, of course, some other languages such as SAM as well. I think only people who likes it's Julian and Eric John. No.
Although Sam does use CDK, doesn't it? I thought Sam used, or does it use CloudFormation?
No, it uses CloudFormation.
Oh, okay, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's install this. Let's install it then.
Exactly. So once you install it, it's actually bringing the files that you need. So once you click on try power, it will actually say like, okay, here's what I can do, and here's what I can offer.
Oh, nice. That's good. Now, I believe when you're using powers, powers all have keywords, right, to invoke them. So do we have it here? So those are the keywords there, are they?
Exactly.
Right.
So when we say we are going to be building with CDK and we are going to be doing XYZ, whatever it is going to actually bring in the tools. One differentiator for powers from skills is this. We have tools that can do additional work like calling an external service, get the last information and whatever it is needed as well.
Yep.
It's up to us. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to run this. I would just exit this one because I want to focus on what we want to build.
Okay.
So I just close this off. Close it off. We have the CDK already, CDK power already in place, so that's a great point to start from.
So I guess so we know what we're going to use, okay, to provision resources. But let's take a step back first, right?
Yeah.
Because there are two things at play here, right? There's the AWS infrastructure that we want to provision, and then there's our application, right, and our application assets.
Yeah.
So would we use no, I can't speak. would we use CDK to do both?
I mean, we can. Like for CDK, for example, for front-end hosting, for building the CI/CD pipelines and everything, we can use CDK. And of course,
we introduce something new there, right? So CDK pipelines, which is what? Tell folks what CDK pipelines are.
Yeah, so CDK uses a service called code pipeline. Like, should I explain CDK pipelines or code pipeline? Because I was thinking code pipeline actually when I was thinking.
Yeah, so I think so. Yeah, so I think let's for folks who might not be familiar with code pipelines, this is a bunch of AWS services. So code deploy, code commit, code pipeline that allows you to build a CI/CD pipeline effectively, right?
Yes,
and allows you to define steps. With dependencies, effectively a graph, a DAG that allows you basically to kind of build your deployment pipeline, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna use CDK to build both the infrastructure, so the EC2 infrastructure, as well as the pipeline that we'll then basically use to deploy our application, right? But I guess, Sally, that means one thing, right?
I want to go I want to go one by one. Like I think we are like thinking in multi-layer already. So for me,
we are. But before we start, let's think about the bigger picture. Then just do one thing at a time, right?
Why?
Because we know from the 2 episodes ago that us spending time thinking about this is. Will
you forget it? Will you forget about it at all?
Yeah.
Will you forget
it makes sense, right? It makes sense. So and you're right. So we will split this into different things. And the reason why I like to do this, Sally, okay, is when you're using CDK, I like to break down my CDK apps into different stacks based on how often or how frequently you might update one.
What is a stack?
So a stack, okay, good question. A stack is how you effectively divide what you're going to get CDK to build for you. So it might be you might have a VPC stack that builds your networking stuff, right? That's typically never going to change or change very infrequently, and you don't want to have to go through the deployment change for that every single time you make updates, right? So you might have a stack that does VPC, you might have a stack that does storage, you might have a stack that does your EC2 compute, but you would treat them as separate stacks, right? And you can generate outputs that feed inputs for subsequent stacks, right? So the output of your VPC stack will be used to as an input for your EC2 stacks, right? So but it means that as you change your EC2 stack, which you might do a lot, okay, you're not impacting any of the other stacks, right? So that's so thinking about the bigger picture allows you to understand how are we going to break this up, right? And so it feels that we're going to have at least a VPC and an EC2 piece, right? We're going to have a code pipeline piece, right? Stack. And so those are the 2 stacks, right? But we also need to think about where we're going to store our application, right? In source code. Now, normally I would use code commit, but because we want to make this available to people to look at, in this instance, we'll put it on GitHub, right? So we'll deploy this on GitHub. So GitHub is going to be effectively our repo for the game engine. And that will be basically the source of our application. So I think that when we think about it from that perspective, okay, we know where our source code is. We know that source code is not going to trigger any changes to the infrastructure layer. Okay. So the VPC and the EC2 stuff, if we make changes to our application code, we're not going to trickle any changes. It's not going to force any changes to those, right? But when we do make a change to the code, it will effectively trigger something in the pipeline, right? But again, the pipeline is just the CDK for the pipeline is just the configuration of the pipeline, right? And the steps within the pipeline. So again, we won't need to change that once the pipeline's operational. Okay, but we might need to tweak it a few until we got to a stage where, because if you think about it, right, the flow is going to be once the pipeline's up and running, we're going to need to create the app spec and the deploy files that's going to take the file from source code and then push it onto the EC2 instance and then and then do all the changes, right? But the actual so there's a bunch of things, and just for folks who are doing this for the first time, it's useful to break these things down into the atomic units and how often or frequently they're going to change and the dependencies between them.
Can we let's take a step back and let's tell these without using any AWS terms and so on. What are we going to build? All right.
Yeah.
So
like that.
First step for us is to get our backend and deploy it to a virtual machine. This is in the simplest terms, right?
Yeah.
This is the first part. The second part is build a, CI/CD is a common term, so I will use CI/CD. Build a CI/CD pipeline that would listen to the changes on the main branch of the backend engine, and work in a way that if you make a change to the backend, it would get the backend project and redeploy it to the virtual machine. So this is our next goal. So first, initially,
I feel a diagram coming on, Sally. I feel a diagram.
I mean, if a diagram is coming, it's not coming from me.
So effectively, we've got let's have a look. Oh, I need a pen.
Yeah.
Why do I need a pen? Right. Okay. Why is it doing that? Hang on. Let's have a look.
You are an artist.
There we go.
Right. I can't even draw.
Okay. So effectively, we've got the back end, right?
Yeah.
We've got the back end.
Yeah.
And this is an application that's currently on Sally's machine.
Exactly.
Okay. So we've got effectively, this is the stuff.
Yeah.
And we need to get this, okay, onto an AWS EC2 instance. Okay. So we want to run it.
So what EC2 is basically giving you a virtual machine with some compute power and so on. It's basically a smaller machine that is dedicated for your tasks. And this is where we are going to put this project in.
And we need it to have a few things, right? Yeah. It needs to be a Linux-based system, and it needs to have Docker, right? Because could
we force it to have Finch?
We could. So actually, could we force it to have Finch? Is Finch available for Linux? I think it is. So I'd have to check on that.
Yeah.
Finch was originally created for Mac and Windows, I believe, and a Linux version was on the time. So, but we've got options, Sally, on that. But so I think you're right. Let's prioritize Finch, but fall back on Docker, right? Now, but we want people from everywhere to be able to access that. And so effectively the EC2 instance lives obviously in AWS, and it lives in a VPC.
It runs on Linux, by the way.
Yeah. And so effectively we'll have a gateway here.
Yeah.
And there'll be an IP address here. And that effectively will be how folks will access it. So this will be available through for an IP address, although actually it won't be actually. So I'm just thinking about this. People aren't going to be accessing this. So this is actually wrong. So let's do that. People aren't actually going to be accessing that, are they? Because
front end is going to access.
Front end is exactly. So let's get rid of that. So basically, the VPC is only for the front end. So private, effectively. And then we're going to have amplify. where over here.
I mean, we can use also like CloudFront as well for hosting.
Could.
Yeah, like since we are doing CDK and so on, we can also create our pipeline to hosting with CDK as well.
So would you? So you wouldn't use CDK to provision Amplify. You'd host this on a CloudFront then.
Yeah. Let's do CloudFront. Yeah.
Okay, that works for me.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do that. Get rid of that. Yeah. So let's put the front end here.
I mean, it's on my machine already, right?
Okay, and so basically, so CloudFront, we're going to put this on CloudFront, and that obviously gives us a whole bunch of other advantages, right?
Yeah.
So it gives us advantages such as security. We can use some of the security services, but also allows it to be available or use the kind of the access point nearest to the end user, right? So
yeah.
So effectively, we put the front end on we'll create a CloudFront distribution.
Yeah.
How do we do environment variables? Can we do environment variables in CloudFront?
I think so. I'm very sure, but let me check.
Okay. So effectively, so the end user will go to CloudFront, to the front end, and a front end will then access the back end through an IP address.
Hold on. Wait a second.
I'm drawing this now, so it's set in stone, Sally.
No. No. Since this is static, like we need to go back to the amplify.
No, but okay, but you can so yeah, because the alternative is you basically bundle, you create a CloudFront distribution that's hard coded to an IP address or a domain name, right? Or a domain name.
I think the problem with CloudFront, like CloudFront will get the resources from S3 and it's like basically static, and any information that is on a static website is going to be available, so it will be a security problem. So let's do amplifier now.
Okay, all right. Oh, I'm sure what's happened there.
Sorry.
It's all right.
We learn as we go. We think we know, but we don't. So
okay. So what's going on here? I've lost my pen. Let's try that again.
Yeah.
So what the hell is going on? Let's go here and go back to pen. Right, okay, now let's try. Oh my word. This is the problem. Don't use tools that no one knows how to use.
Let's try. Is it at least open source?
This isn't actually. This is not open source. This is actually from Adobe. It's a really good tool, actually. I got to say. There we go. It's working now. But I don't want that. I want a pencil. Okay, so basically amplify. Amplify. So we're going to put the front end. Actually, I need it thicker than this. Let's put it on hardness, opacity. Nope, I want size. There we go. Okay, so oh no, don't do this again. Don't do this again. Right, that's more like it. Okay. What the hell? This is not playing ball.
Come on.
Yes, come on. Okay, amplify.
Yeah.
We got there at the end. Right.
Yeah.
The front end will be here.
Maybe we can change the color of the pen.
Yes, we can actually. We can change that.
Yeah.
What color would you want amplify? Orange?
No, it can be something more visible. Like
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. So it's too thin, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Okay, that's okay. Oh, I've changed it to orange now, so let's go back to black.
Yeah.
Okay, so amplify.
Yeah.
Amplify.
I don't like if you say 2 more times amplify, then the service will be visiting us soon.
I'm not a horror movie fan, but I do know the reference. Okay, so now we've got a really thick.
Yeah.
thick
Yeah.
time.
But yeah.
Let's change that.
Yeah.
Okay, so effectively, we'll have amplify as the mechanism by which the front end will be deployed. This will then speak to the back end through an environment variable, which we saw yesterday.
Right.
So that's an environment variable. Which sets the IP.
Yeah.
Now we do. So I think what we're going to do, I guess, Sally, is we're making a call that we don't actually want to access the Bootstrap UI once it's deployed on here, right? Or maybe we do. So we need to make that call now, because obviously that will change in the infrastructure as code whether we open up ingress ports and as security groups. But I'm comfortable that we do everything now through the front end.
I think.
What do you think?
That's a great question.
Although this is why I like to kind of try and draw these out. I guess the only question, okay, is that we don't currently have the import facility in the front end. We only have it in the back end. So then and I guess the question is, this is going to be an EC2 instance, so we can SSH into it and then create a tunnel. So you can create an SSH tunnel to access this, and so you would be able to access the UI that way. So that's one way you could do it, but we're not going to open it up generally. So I guess this is the question: is how strongly do we feel about that, or do we think that we should look to move that admin UI or most of it to the front end?
I mean, let's keep it in the front end side, and let's keep the password. Like, of course, people change the password and everything to something more like.
Okay, so
complicated than Melon, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess the back end. So what we're saying is the back end at the moment, which listens up on 5,000.
Yeah.
We'll leave that open, and we'll block it to our IP. So the source will be to specific IPs. IP. So that we will be able to get to the back end through a UI, but most of the UI is going to be from the front end. Okay, and so the users will end up doing that. So we know this is the target. This is the end state, right? This is where we want to be. So now let's look at actually the kind of like how we would create sort of CDK stacks. So EC2 instances live on VPCs, right? So we're going to have a VPC stack.
What is VPC again?
It's virtual private cloud. It stands for.
For the people who don't know it, why would they?
So for people who are new to AWS, what VPCs are, it's your logical cloud. So you define the boundary in which you're going to put specific resources. Okay, so a virtual machine that needs networking needs to sit into some kind of networking construct. And the virtual private cloud allows you to create this logical construct in which you define things like VLAN, so virtual networks. You assign IP address ranges. You create subnets. You create firewall rules. You control ingress and out egress routes. Those kind of things.
So for people who has used any hosting service before, we can say that behind the scenes, the logic to set this up is there's but they are not exposed to it. In here, we are exposing ourselves to this because we need to do a bit of more advanced use case, which is using a containerized app in a virtual machine.
Yeah, well, I think it's more the fact that it's a constraint. So if you want to bring up an EC2 instance, you need a VPC, right? Now, by default, AWS does have what's called a default VPC, but we don't really want to use that. We want to control that for this situation, right? And that will allow us to control things like the ports, the ingress, and also define security groups by which the Amplify app can actually access the backend. So obviously, then we've got an EC2 stack, all right, which is where we're going to deploy the backend, right? And then we've obviously got the Amplify stack, right? So that's kind of like the basics. But what we've been talking about, Sally, is that we've got here the source code.
For backend or front end?
For both.
Yeah.
So basically, let's do front end and back end. Okay. And so what we want to do is, let's change that. When we're making changes on Sally's machine, we are going to make changes here. Okay. And then when changes are detected, it's going to fire off basically changes to deploy that change to this. So this is where we have then the code pipeline.
So it's a triggering mechanism. It's from the CI/CD word, it's like continuous integration, continuous delivery, right? And the CI and CD parts are responsible for not only just building something and delivering, but also making sure everything is working as expected by running tests or so on. And for running these additional operations, you need the pipelines. And when these checks pass, then your pipeline will do the last thing to deliver, to publish. So that's why even though they are two different actually concepts, they have been brought into together because they are very tied to each other. So that's why
but they're also, you can have multiple pipelines, right? So we would have a backend pipeline, and the backend pipeline would basically take the code from here, and then it would create a bunch of steps that would basically deploy the application. So our app here, right? And the front end would do the same thing, do a bunch of steps, and then effectively deploy it on the app front end. Now we could store all of this stuff here, the infrastructure that sets all this stuff up. We could also store that in source control, right? And what we could also do is we could create pipelines for it, so that when, for example, let's say we wanted to make a change to the EC2 instance type, right? We update the CDK stack in source control, and the code pipeline would then initiate the build or the change set to actually make that happen, right? So we could do that as well. But I guess from our perspective at the moment, we know that this isn't going to change a lot, right? For what we're trying to do at the moment, we don't need to do this bit, right? Unless you want to. So what I'm thinking is that from a CDK perspective, we'll build these three stacks first, and then we'll also use CDK to build the pipeline, but the pipelines for the deploying of the applications into the infrastructure that we've already created.
Do you think the infrastructure code should be a separate project, or should they be in the source code that they work with?
Well, that's a good question. That's I'm not sure. What do you think?
I think right now, for the sake of easiness, let's keep it with wherever they are affected. So if it's backend related, everything should be on the backend project, I guess.
Okay. So basically, what we're saying is that within here backend, we're going to have the CDK for the VPC and EC2.
But hold on. That would mean having double project. No, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. No. We will have an infrastructure project. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, so what we're saying is we're going to have another repo, another directory on your machine called infrastructure.
Yeah.
And then that's going to have all the stacks effectively.
No, exactly.
I think that makes it cleaner for me.
Yeah.
Because
also,
we can
see that infrastructure is the orchestrator here, so you can say that this is the orchestrator, everything is all right, all should work together.
But it does raise an interesting question, right? Because this might be how and what makes sense to us, right? But from an LLM, from an AI perspective, it actually might prefer everything all together, right? Because it's got, from a context perspective, it's got everything that's needed together in one place. And this is definitely what I'm beginning to see, from my own preferences, right? I'm beginning to change, and I would ordinarily always do this, right? Separate them. But now I'm beginning to experiment with actually putting things together that ordinarily wouldn't be together, just so that the context is all in one place. But let's leave it at that, I think. So I think this is what we're going to be doing then, Sally. So we've got a good idea now. We know what we're building. We know that we've got to do the VPC stack and the EC2 stuff first. We've got some requirements. We know what these need to be. Okay. And we can use these when we're defining our or when we're helping, when we're creating the prompt to kick off the CDK app. And obviously CDK comes in lots of different flavors, but my experience is that as even though I do them in Python, we'll be doing this in TypeScript. Okay, right, so let me just stop sharing. So that's my poor diagram.
But one thing that I want to mention is, like, also for the project structure and so on, right now we have everything in like one folder kind of thing anyway, and like basically we could consider this with like submodules and so on. Exactly. So
absolutely.
I think it should be fun. So here's what I will do. I will create a new file called
new file or new directory. Oh,
infrastructure tasks.md. And I will say create infrastructure to deploy the front end and back end. And I will just use the same word. Or you know what? I will just say infrastructure tasks to set up. No, that's all. Create infrastructure.
So again, remember, we want to try and atomicize this as much as possible. So try and break it down into the smallest units, because we know that AI agents work better when they do small tasks rather than giving them everything in one go, right?
The rules and tasks below. And completing tasks. Here's what I do. Like, again, I think I did it yesterday as well. Like, I have a very, very basic overview of what to kick off things with. Then the next thing is I define the rules. Like, the rules are number one rule, use CDK TypeScript to define the infrastructure.
Okay.
And should I say, like, use also Kira Power, or do you think it will automatically call it?
So I think we should, because we got no guarantee, right? And we want to make sure that we get Kiro to use the Kira powers. Yeah. But the thing is, though, Sally, as long as Kiro knows to use the right keywords, that's how we get it to use it, right?
Yeah, but like, we need to also make sure which skill or rich information that it should take from the power as well. For example, in this one, we have the best practices. So we need to make sure that we get the best practices as well.
Okay.
Best practices and let's say latest version of the libraries. All right, the third project. Third rule. Should we mention create the infrastructure project as a separate project or?
So if I mean, I think what we say is we need to tell it what we want, right? So create a directory called game-infrastructure where all the CDK stacks are going to be.
On the CDK infrastructure will be under game infrastructure. If it doesn't exist, create one. You never know.
Yeah.
And the next rule is what?
So I think we need to differentiate between rules and what we want it to create, right? So they're two separate things, right? Rules are stuff it's got to always follow, right?
Yeah.
And then actual kind of like what the kind of the component, the deliverables of what we want, right? So we know we want a VPC. So we want it to create a VPC or sorry, let me start again. We need to outline what we want it to create, right?
Yeah.
And so we have to define what are you going to create CDK stacks for, right? Now they're not rules though, right?
Yeah.
These are tasks, I guess.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we can go two ways. One is we can create tasks. Two, we can create acceptance criteria and let Kira create tasks for it.
Okay, us. I mean, I'm happy. I know you like your acceptance criteria.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay with both. I just don't want to miss any.
But what we learned the other day is if we start with the tasks, let's write the task down. Then you can work backwards from that and figure out what do you think the acceptance criteria are, right? So the first one is that effectively we want to create a VPC stack, right? Now we have to be specific here, right? Which region?
We need to create a new CDK project called game infrastructure. Create a VPC stack on US East 1 or
are we going to host it in US East 1? That's going to add latency, isn't it? So wouldn't we do that in EU somewhere? Central, Central's fine.
You know, like
okay,
Frankfurt.
Okay, yeah, that. Okay, but we need more information than that because the VPC can be configured lots of different ways, right? Yeah. So we need to define, for example, whether we want it to be to have a public and private subnet. So because it's going to be not externally visible, we can say we just want a private subnet in which we're going to deploy an EC2 instance into.
Can we just say like create a VPC stack on ES Central 1 with logical options to connect it to be able to connect it from the front end. You know, like we don't need to think in detail. We can just say create a VPC stack using a region that a front end application can connect to.
Well, I would be specific. Front end application, I would say in brackets AWS Amplify.
Yeah. Hosted on AWS Amplify can connect through HTTP requests.
Yeah. So I think there's another thing we're missing here, right? Which is basically I guess I think that's good. That's good. Okay, fine. Yeah. I think that's good. And so then the next one is we need to create an EC2.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean, but I think if we add more things, then it will. I think you're right. Be like 6 different tasks. So because it will naturally come as the next step. So
I hear you. Although I guess we'll
do you want to do like create an EC2? Like, do you want to switch the place of VPC and EC2? Like create an EC2?
No, because you can't create an EC2 instance without a VPC. So you have to do the VPC first.
All right. Okay. Create an EC2 stack. For example, like here's a rule. Every operation, every resource created should be on EU central.
Yeah, that's good. That's a rule. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, region.
Yeah.
So we can stop ourselves from writing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Create an EC2 stack.
Okay. And so here we need to define some basics, right? So basically, that runs Linux. I would put in brackets Ubuntu.
Yeah.
And has, let's say, a V8 CPU and let's say 8 gigs of memory. And I would put in brackets minimum because we don't want it because it could be it can go over, right? But
the minimum requirements. Should I say also? Okay, this is another task again, like to install the Finch and so on.
So we can. So this is yeah. So I think this is still part of the EC2 stack, right? We need in the same sentence, right? We need to configure the stack so that accessed via HTTP port 5000 is allowed.
Is it 5000 or 5001?
No, it's 5000.
Okay.
Okay. So no, you're right. I think it is 5001. Yes. Okay. Allowed to specific IP address.
Yeah.
Or from a specific IP address.
Yeah. Specific IP address.
Because we don't want to leave it open completely, right?
Yeah.
We want to make sure that it's only locked down to an IP.
No,
right?
100%.
Okay. So that's the first two stacks, and I guess then the third stack is then the amplify one.
I mean, here's the thing, though. Do you think that it will automatically understand that it needs to use the VPC that we have created before while using EC2, or is it going to create a VPC by default?
I see what you're saying. So you okay. So yeah. Okay. So use the VPC stack. Yeah.
Or this EC2. Nope. EC2 instance. All right. And the next one is amplify hosting stack.
Okay, yeah. Now, when you create your amplify hosting stack, can you create an empty project, empty thing, or do you need to give it effectively the application?
I have never used CDK to create an amplify app, so this will be a learning experience for me too.
So maybe what we should do is, what we could do is we could try, okay, because what I was going to suggest is maybe we just do the back end stuff first before we do them.
Yes, let's do that. I was going to tell you that as well because I have some ideas. So let's do the backend stuff first. Make sure it's working when we what we have. Then we can deploy it. The deploy.
One thing we need, one thing I also so rules. I've got a new rule now. A new rule should be that generate outputs. So yeah, if you go down and put a new rule, but So configure the stacks to generate outputs on how to access or key configuration details, right, of the stack. So things like VPCs will be the VPC ID, subnet information, security groups, EC2 will be the same thing, right? So by default, it might not generate, because with CDK, you can actually use the CFN output to effectively generate outputs of information. And I don't know whether it will actually create any outputs, right? So we want to configure outputs. So I think we want to configure the CDK stacks to generate or to output information around accessing around accessing the resources.
Yeah, I think this is not a rule, but this is a task, right? Or
it's a rule. It's a rule because it applies equally to all stacks, right?
Okay.
So whenever you create a stack, right, we want it to create outputs that give us information, and so that's a rule rather than specific to one stack or another.
Yeah, that should do it, right? Here's a question. We did not mention anything about Finch. We did not mention anything about deploying this gaming engine
okay
project.
Great question, right? So good, this is really good. So with when you configure or provision an EC2 instance, you can control what's configured installed through user data, right? So let's add that, okay, as an addition. So so let's add that. So we want to ensure that Docker and Finch, let's put both of them.
Yeah, all right.
Ensure that
Docker and Finch.
It's more than that, right? It's more than that. We need UV, we need Python, 3 point whatever the requirements are.
Python 3.14 maybe.
I think that we probably don't need that. Let's have a look what version I'm running here.
Let's do type Python 3+.
So I mean, I think 3.10 pass would be fine.
So 14.
So UV, Docker, and Finch.
UV, Python, Docker, and Finch
are installed.
Installed and configured, maybe.
You don't need to configure that. We're not configuring anything here.
All right.
So I'm just thinking, if we look at the back end, what else are we using? I think we are just using Python. We're using UV, and that's it. The rest, the only reason for Docker and Finch are for the sandbox. Okay, we do need, right. There is something else we need, right. We need to create. So when you provision an EC2 instance, okay, you can attach to it what's called an instance profile. And an instance profile defines what permissions it has to AWS resources, right? Now, we know that the backend speaks to Amazon Bedrock, right? So we need to configure the instance profile to access whatever AWS resources we want it to access. Now, at the moment, the only thing that is Amazon Bedrock. So we need to configure, and it's called an instance profile to access Amazon Bedrock services.
Configure the instance profile to what was it, to use the Amazon Bedrock services?
So we configure the instance profile permissions, or define an instance profile. Permissions to use to be able to use Amazon Bedrock for Anthropic models. Because if we don't have that, what will happen, okay, is we'll start the back end, and it won't have permissions to actually access to do any of the kind of the prompts effectively it won't be able to do any inference on that instance, and apart from that, it's not making calls to anything else, right? So that's the only server AWS service it's connecting to. We're not connecting to S3 or RDS or anything like that. So that should be it.
Yeah, we are not connecting to any of it. But okay, never mind. All right, I think we're good. So what should I do? Should I just...
So this is let's have a look. So yeah, let's go for it. Let's kick things off. See what happens.
I want to also write like before you implement a task, make sure to come up with a plan and ask for an approval and before you implement it.
I mean, I've never used I've never used CDK to do an EC2 instance like this, right?
Yeah,
Normally,
me too. I always do like serverless and so on with it. So.
Well, so actually, so I was gonna say I've used it to provision EC2 instances for Kubernetes and ECS services, right? So there you create the VPC stack and the EC2 compute stuff, right? But it's never because you're running the virtual machine to run stuff on, right? This is the first time I think I've done it where we're actually running something on an EC2. So I'm kind of excited, in a way, to see how this works.
We still did not mention like we need to deploy the game engine.
No, because we won't do that in this instance.
All right.
That's where we're going to use the pipeline. We're going to use the pipeline to do that.
So we don't want to even do an initial deployment to test.
So what we're doing here is we're basically provisioning the stack. Remember what I said about the stacks being separate from because this will be done once, right? We won't need to do it more than once. And so the pipeline. Actually, to be fair, we do need the pipeline stack as well, right? We need the pipeline stack. So we haven't got that here. Okay, there's more we need to do, right? There's more.
Let's add it.
Okay, so we want to create a pipeline stack that will take source code from GitHub, a GitHub source. And now we should really provide the GitHub source, Sally. But I've already put this on GitHub, but what I don't know is I don't know if I've updated the code since or whether you've updated the code since. So
no.
Okay,
it is right. It is staying as it is. So it should
okay. So effectively, the GitHub, I think it's literally I'm gonna put in the chat. In Slack. Actually, I can't do that. I'm going to put it in the private chat. Actually, Sally. So you will see it in where is the private chat gone? Comments, private chat. Okay, I'm going to put it in the private chat of StreamYard. That is the URL for the GitHub.
I would just say we'll take the public open source project from GitHub on this.
Yep.
This URL.
Well, it's a repo, no? It's this repo. It's this repo. This GitHub repo.
From this GitHub repository and deploy it to EC2.
And deploy it to the EC2 instance. To
the EC2 instance. Should we also mention make sure to run the service or so on, or is it defined in README?
So this is a good point, right? So what we want to do is we want to create, or we want as part of the pipeline, we want to create all the automated system control services so that the application will automatically start. We can also stop it, get status updates and all that kind of stuff as well. So so create all create the system services to automatically start, stop the application.
Stop the application.
And what I would say is use native Ubuntu. Use the native Ubuntu good practices to do that. And what it will do is it will create in the etc system. It will create effectively a services file which it uses basically for the system control.
Should we also mention in the game engine, run this build images first then run the.
Yes. I mean, that's really good point actually.
To run the service.
So that'll be part of that. So that's different. So what I would say is that's a separate task, right? So the task is make sure you run or build the container images, and then point to the file, which is in basically source services, whatever. I think sandbox, isn't it?
Images by running. Should I write game engine as well, because it will?
Well, I would just put the path. So game engine source.
Services build images.
No, I think it's in sandbox.
Yes, sir. Yes. Sandbox build images.
I think let's have a look. Is it build images? Build underscore images. That's it. Fine. Yeah. Actually, if you open that file, if you open up the build images file, just quickly, just make sure it works. So this is actually he's using Finch, isn't it, at the moment, which is fine.
Yes.
Okay. And if you look at the Docker files,
where's the Docker file?
So if you go, there's a directory called
sandbox. Yeah.
Okay, so if you look at one of those, okay, that should be fine. Now,
no, we need to have the npm as well.
Yes. Okay, good call. Well done, because well spotted there. And actually, the Java one needs, I think, is it using Corretto? So yeah, look at the Java one as well. That's okay. That's fine, because it's using that container. We don't need to worry about that. One of the, I don't know. I think we might need some more permissions actually. So I would add some additional things here, right? How to do this, because this is going to.
This is getting more complicated, right?
Well, it's not complicated. I think this is in the wrong place.
Right.
So, as part of the pipeline, create the system service automatically start. So, okay, that's that. Hopefully, what I'm worried about is that the pipeline is not going to know that it's going to be doing this for the deployment, but hopefully it'll be all right. One of the issues is we need to say add additional permissions to the instance profile in order for it to be able to log into Docker. Because what will happen is that when you do the Docker process, it will try and create a login using the AWS CLI, but that requires permissions, and I just can't remember what they are. So we'll ask Kiro to do that. We'll ask Kiro to figure that out, right? So basically add to the EC2 instance profile. Add permissions. Add permissions so that the build images script will work. Because what hopefully then will
the build. Okay, I think this should be done before though, because now we are
okay. Or right? Yeah, I mean. Yeah, we can just add it to that. Run the services that build the container images by running that, and then as part of an additional thing, make sure that you've set the appropriate permissions.
Correct permissions. All right, I want to kick things off because I want to start with at least a task before we wrap things up.
Let's do it.
We wrote
let's
all
see what
of
happens.
These. So I want to see how it is. So I'm just going to do this.
Let's see if the powers. It'll be interesting to see if the powers actually kick in, right?
Let's see. So it immediately
activated powers. There we go. Look at that.
Nice.
No, very good.
Yeah.
So you have to trust it to yours. You have to run it, don't you?
Let's run it. It is analyzing the code.
Oh god, that's quick, isn't it? It's really quick.
It is actually like getting some information from the CDK documentation. This is the thing about Powers. In Powers, you can connect it to the MCP, and with skills, you have everything locally. So it actually searches through the CDK documentation to get the information. But again, you can see that like it already is at the 28%.
Yeah, it is a lot. It goes through a lot.
I would rather have this as a skill than something else. Yeah.
So what it's doing at the moment, it looks like it's going through some of the constructs and patterns resources, which for those people who aren't familiar with CDK, the community has been over the last few years building up good practices around how to do certain deployment patterns. So rather than us having to know or look for them, this skill has it already built into it. So we're already using good practices. Now, has it created a directory for us though, Sally? Has it created a new directory for?
No, it is actually creating a
plan document first.
Yeah.
But isn't the plan in that directory, or is it in a separate directory?
No, it is right now. The plan is right in the chat. Like we need to say yes. So it didn't create anything at all so far.
Okay. All right. Okay. So this is what it's going to create, right?
Yeah, let's see it.
Overview, VPC stack.
Yeah, VPC with public and private subnets across two AZs. AZ is availability zone. Internet gateway for public subnet access, so we can have the HTTP from the Amplify frontend. That's nice.
So actually, that's an interesting question. So Sally, can you not use private gateways for Amplify? So folks, for those people who aren't familiar, what this is saying is it's going to use the public internet to access Amplify with the back end, right? So effectively, it goes out onto the public internet and go back into AWS. Now, AWS for many years have had another service called Private Gateway, which allows you to stay within the AWS network, right? Can you do that with Amplify? Can you get Amplify to use a private gateway rather than a public one?
Let's ask. I don't know it by heart.
Oh, okay.
And
I guess this is one of those things, right? Because we weren't specific about this. If we had asked it that we wanted to try and keep all traffic within AWS and not use public internet, it would, as a rule, it would probably have picked that up.
Private network from Amplify front end. Let's ask it. Then let's continue reviewing.
Yep. Okay.
And the second,
second stack depends on that. We've got a nice big machine, Ubuntu security group without inbound port on 5001 on a configurable IP address, parameterized, good. User data script installs all the files, instance profile with Bedrock permission. Interesting that it hasn't picked up on the container build, but maybe that'll do that later on. Okay, SSM managed to secure. Yep. Okay, no SSH key. So for those folks, what that means is that when we want to access the VM, we will go through the AWS console to do that.
Yeah. And we have the
place in public subnets for stable addressing outputs. Okay, outputs instance ID public IP security group. Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. And then we've now got the depends on EC2 stack v2. So source repo, deploy stage using the EC2 deploy action targeting EC2 instance by tag. Deploy specifications include pre-deploy scripts, stop the game engine systems. Yep, perfect. Post-deploy script, system service files created via user data. But it hasn't picked up on the permissions, actually, interesting enough. So that the permissions for building the container haven't been added there. But maybe it's actually it says using CoStar connection is for GitHub requires one-time manual connection set up in the AWS console. So we'll have to do that. We'll have to configure code pipeline to do that, which we can. That's fine. That's not an issue.
Yeah. You just need to invite me to the project as a contributor.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, no. We have to invite the code. Oh yeah, for the AWS account that we're running. Yes, correct. Yeah. So your account. Yes. Finch is alongside. Okay, so this is looking pretty good, I think, at the moment.
Okay.
But it hasn't got. Okay, so yes, I think these are the 2 questions, right, that we've got.
Yeah.
I think at the moment. So actually, I would maybe rephrase the first question, right?
Yeah.
So I would maybe rephrase the question as that: is it possible to for network connectivity between the front end and the back end to go through internal AWS network rather than the public internet?
Oh man, this was more complicated than what I have written. I will keep this one.
Okay, let's leave it. Yeah, let's leave it.
Like I got confused in the middle of it.
No, you're okay. You're right. In my head, Sally. In my head, it sounded better.
No.
But you're right.
I will just ask this if it's not clear with you. It's great questions. So Amplify hosting serves a static front end that runs in the user's browser. The HTTP requests to the game engine come from the end user's browser, not from Amplify's infrastructure. So there is no private network path. The browser needs to reach the EC2 instance somehow.
No, that's okay. So that this is it's misunderstood. That's the structure then.
Yeah.
So Amplify.
I'm just going to ask, like, for the first question, I will have a follow-up. But let's read the second one. Yes, that's covered in the plan, but I should have been more explicit. Here's what happens. The build script uses Finch, so it doesn't need
okay, right.
Okay, so the second question is answered.
Yes, okay, fine. So the second one is fine.
Not on first question. What would be the way to handle it through private network, though?
I'm not sure I understand the question, how you've written it, Sally.
Yeah, because I didn't understand it as well. So here's what I want to ask. Like right now we have the React SPA. So my question is, we have the V tooling and everything. And I'm thinking why we are not thinking about using this tooling to go with, I don't know, maybe like server-side rendering or whatnot, to move the connection to the AWS side. Is it possible?
But can we simplify that to basically, can we keep the connectivity between the front and the back end private, not over public internet?
Yeah, we can ask, is it possible somehow for this front end project to keep the front end back end communication on private internet?
Private internet, private network, same thing.
Yeah,
the short answer is not with a standard Amplify hosted SPA, because the API. Well, I missed that. What does it say? Because the API.
So many answers. So the short answer is not with a standard Amplify hosted SPA, because the API calls originate from the end user's browser, not from AWS infrastructure. However,
it's misunderstood our question, isn't it? It's misunderstood our question, because that's not the question we asked it. We asked it from the front end to the back end, not from the end user to the front end.
Yeah.
So let's ask the question a slightly different way, right? Let's ask the question: can we implement front end to back end through private network? So question.
Yeah.
Can we use private network between front end and back end? So actually, what I would probably do, I put front end Amplify and then back end EC2. Because I thought you could do this. I thought you could do this.
No, here's why. This is React SPA. The front-end code runs entirely in the can be. Nope.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So, okay. So basically, what it's saying is the end user then accesses the back end. So is that how React works then? It doesn't act as a proxy. It acts actually as the actual browser is actually accessing the backend APIs directly. Because I thought it was the React that was doing that. The juice isn't worth the squeeze here. I love that. Okay, we've asked the question, Sally. I'm happy to move on.
Okay, no, I want to ask one last question.
Okay,
go for it. Last question. Can't we use the read tooling with React for SSR support without dealing with the Next.js? Built in, you can do SSR with React without switching to Next.js, but the core problem remains the same. Regardless of this app is a highly interactive game UI. Calling it SSR means you need to split every component, the code editor, blah, blah, blah. It essentially be in a server-side run. So we would need to do a big refactoring.
Okay.
But our tooling still allows it. We can, if I'm being honest, like I want to
let's proceed now. Let's proceed with implementation. It's eager.
Yeah. I think I want to slowly wrap up this live stream because I want to do all at once.
Okay, so this is a good cliffhanger, right? So good cliffhanger. So I guess, folks, what you saw today was Sally and me take the first steps in moving the application that we've been building over the last 15 weeks. No, 15 episodes, not 15 weeks. 15 episodes. And we're now at a cliffhanger on actually the first CDK stack, which we will do next week when we reconvene. So I guess Tuesday, Sally.
Tuesday would be the best.
So Tuesday, folks, tune in. As Sally and me take the Kiro developer quest into the clouds.
I'm very excited. I will also think about how we can turn the server-side rendering as well, but that's a future.
We shall think about that until the next episode, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But until then, folks, it's been a pleasure. See you next week.
Take care. Bye, everyone.